And we begin tonight with Symone. Symone, thank you very much. Good to have you with us this evening. So I guess the first question is, why did Joe Biden come out with this strong stance in favor of impeachment today when prior to that he had urged restraint on this issue?
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Martha. Busy day on all fronts. So much is happening. Look, I think it's a fair question. Why today and why now, frankly? Well, I think the acts of the last 15 days are what moved Vice President Biden to this position. 15 days ago, Vice President Biden was in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, and he gave a speech and a statement, frankly, and he said in that statement that if Donald Trump and the Trump administration did not cooperate with Congress's investigation that they constitutionally have the right to do, then this will be a tragedy of Donald Trump's own making, and that Congress would have no choice other than to start an impeachment inquiry. Well, over the last 15 days, Martha, regardless of what side of the aisle anyone sits on, it has been a remarkable time in American politics and political history. We have seen the president stand on the White House lawn and openly invite interference into our election, foreign interference into our election to help him politically. He asked Ukraine and China on the White House lawn. We have seen a whistleblower complaint now that confirmed that Donald Trump's allies and folks in the administration moved to cover up a phone call that we also saw from reports, a transcript that the White House put out their own self.
Understood. We've reported all of everything that you just talked about. We have been reporting over the course of the last couple of weeks, to be sure. One of the questions, just in terms of Vice President Biden's strategy, is whether or not he felt that he had to come out at this point more strongly. The Real Clear Politics average shows that he's now down more than 2 points, about 2.5 points, to Elizabeth Warren, who has spoken out very forcefully on this issue. Is that why he decided he had to now speak out?
No, that's not why, Martha, why he had to speak out. There's a story in the New York Times today that talks about Joe Biden and his history when it comes to impeachment proceedings in the United States Congress. You know, for the impeachments of Nixon and Clinton, Vice President Biden was a senator. And in both of those instances, he urged restraint. He urged that there's a process, that there's a system, that we have to gather the information.
Well, that's what President Trump is saying, too, that, you know, there needs to be a system. That's why he'd like to see a vote in the House before they move forward, and a little bit of clarification on how this is all going to work before they start putting all of their people out there, which seems like a fair enough question.
Well, Martha, our posture is that Congress has oversight duties, and that what the Trump administration is doing is obstructing their duties for oversight and investigation.
Well, Congress should just take a vote like they have in all the previous situations where we dealt with this kind of thing.
Well, what we would say, and what Vice President Biden has said, that, again, over the course of the last 15 days, particularly over the last 24 hours, we have seen the White House, particularly President Trump, come out and obstruct the investigation by not allowing a sitting ambassador to testify before Congress, and furthermore noting that he is not bound to the Constitution. Congress has oversight acts. So Vice President Biden, frankly,
believes they have a difference of opinion on.
They have a difference of opinion. I think so.
Let me just ask you one question.
But Martha, can I just say one more thing? Is that
and then I have one more question.
The Constitution is not, up for the Constitution isn't a difference of opinion, and the Constitution states that Congress has this ability, this oversight ability. And if the Trump administration and the president are not cooperating, it is our posture that, that is obstructing an investigation.
So, the piece that I put up before, the New Republic piece, which talked about the Biden campaign collapsing, raised some legitimate concerns.
I have to laugh.
No, I don't blame you. You should, you should disagree with that in your position, of course. But one of the things that it raises is that this whole controversy over Ukraine, it brings, obviously the Hunter Biden question back into the bloodstream. And there will be questions about all of that, obviously. And if Joe Biden becomes the nominee, there's no doubt, on a debate stage, for example, or anywhere else, he would be asked, why was your son paid $50,000 a month for something that he didn't have any experience doing? And would he have gotten that job or the deal with China if he wasn't named Biden? Would he have gotten any of those opportunities if he wasn't the vice president's son? What's the answer to that?
Well, Martha, look, one, I dispel the myth that our campaign is collapsing. I think folks have been writing that our campaign was on the brink of collapse before our campaign even got started, and they've been essentially writing our campaign's obituary since April 24th. And I think we're still doing pretty well. We are looking forward to engaging with voters all across this country. What I'll say about the smears, and I'll refer to them as smears and lies, that the Trump administration has put forth, and Donald Trump specifically has put forth about Vice President Biden and his family, is that they're just not true, Martha. And so our campaign's posture, Vice President...
Do you believe that he would have made that money if he wasn't the vice president's son? Because the vice president was overseeing Ukraine and China. And then suddenly he got these positions in Ukraine and China. So it does raise legitimate questions. And I think no matter who is interviewing or questioning the vice president, he's going to have to answer that question. And so that's why I'm asking you tonight what the answer to that question is.
And, you know, Martha, he has been asked questions about this. He's done gaggles. And our posture is this, that what Donald Trump is alleging, and what he is alleging is that Vice President Biden did something untoward, that there was something fishy going on, that the firing of the Ukraine prosecutor, that the EU, that the IMF, that the entirety of the West was united in wanting, that reformers in Ukraine wanted, was somehow not on the up and up and was devised to protect Vice President Biden. Son. That is what he's saying, and that's not true. And so our campaign's posture, and frankly, Vice President Biden's posture specifically, has been to unequivocally, you know, bat down those smears, those lies, and those assertions, because that is not the... And Martha,
there's even a piece today that came out.
The last thing I want to note, the last thing I want to note on this is that, frankly, Vice President Biden has been clear, and that President Trump's oath of office is to protect Americans, is to protect our standing in the international world. And he has violated that oath. He has violated the Constitution. And so anytime he wants to bring up Hunter Biden, the question should come back to Donald Trump and what he is doing. Because this isn't about Vice President Biden. This is about Donald Trump.
I understand that as a strategy. I'm just saying, I don't think it's a question that will clearly be asked because of all of this. And you know, there's even an interesting piece by Peter Schweitzer in the New York Times today that says that what Hunter Biden did is perfectly legal. But is it right? You know, and he's raising questions about whether or not it just presents sort of a bad look, and what the vice president thinks about that in retrospect.
Ambassador Susan Rice was out there today on I think she was on a book tour, and I think she was on The View or something like that. And she was asked about, you have the clip.
We will have it. We'll have it in the next segment, so stick around for that. But go ahead.
Well, I'll just say that she served in the Obama administration, the Obama-Biden administration, and noted that Vice President Biden served honorably, that there is no question about his character, about his commitment to the Constitution, and his commitment to America. And so I would say to anyone out there that's wondering, you know, if you can trust where Joe Biden stands when it comes to America and America's interests, and is he on the up and up, I would say the answer is unequivocally yes. Unfortunately, we cannot say the same for Donald Trump and the Trump administration.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Symone. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for answering the questions, and we hope you'll come back. It's good to have you with us tonight.